Day. New Brunswick Day has existed since the New Brunswick Day Act was passed in 1975. Yes, we're getting geeky here. And so in 1976, that was the very first New Brunswick Day. Now, the act doesn't stipulate exactly what New Brunswick Day is supposed to do or be. And so, of course, what we usually say is things like New Brunswick Day exists to, or on New Brunswick Day, we celebrate the spirit of New Brunswickers, the essence of who we are. And we celebrate, of course, where we live. Now, that is all true, and I don't usually get personal on these live for fives, these daily live for fives, and it's not that I don't intend to. I just haven't yet because I'm so interested in discussing policy and the five things that I want to see happen, the solutions I want to bring to our community. But I just thought on this New Brunswick Day, I'd tell you my first impression of New Brunswick and when that was. And so it was back in 2005, I believe. Yes, 2005. I was teaching in Korea after graduating from the University of Ottawa with an English Lit degree. I went off to Korea. I loved it so much that I kept renewing every year. I stayed for a total of 3 years. But in my first year, I met a New Brunswicker named Thomas, a fellow expat. He became a great friend of mine. We bought motorcycles together in Korea, traveled all over. And in one of the summers that I had off, I came back to Ottawa and bought a motorcycle. And then he was also off on the same kind of leave from his school. So he came back to Riverview where he lives. So I bought a motorcycle and I rode out to Riverview to meet him. And that was my first time out east, as we say. I'm, again, being from Ottawa. And we started driving all around New Brunswick. He started proudly showing me where he lives. When I was in Korea, he would talk about New Brunswick, how gorgeous it is, how he can't wait to return. And of course, you just hear about this distant place. And then suddenly I was surrounded by the trees, the hills, the ocean. He took me to Parley Beach. We had lobster right there from a lobster shack in the sand, sunsets, meeting his friends. It was absolutely glorious. Traveling around, going to Hopewell Rocks. I mean, it was staggering. And I never forgot it. I went back to Ottawa, I went back to Korea, and I did not come back to New Brunswick until my wife and I, after getting our master's degrees in Toronto and spending 10 years there, said, we got to get out of here. No offense, Toronto, but where can we go? And multiple reasons led us to Saint Stephen, the place that we now call home, in Saint Croix riding. And my first impression, again, landing here, never having really lived in a small town, was the friendliness, the welcoming aspect of the community, the bluntness of New Brunswickers, sometimes calling people from Ontario the Ontariables to my face and laughing about it. Just welcoming and good humored and resilient. I became very aware of what the community had been through, the economic hardships of the last few years, and this sense that we can do it together. Warm and friendly and welcoming and hardworking. That is my impression of New Brunswick. And of course, we are surrounded by the most beautiful landscape. And I've been to China and Korea and Japan and Thailand and all over the US. And I think we can say, as New Brunswickers, we live in some of the most gorgeous territory, some of the most gorgeous land on earth. And so on New Brunswick Day, if that is what we are doing, celebrating the spirit of the community, the spirit of New Brunswickers, and I trepidatiously, having lived here since 2018 now, am calling myself a New Brunswicker because I never plan on leaving. My wife and I say it is the best decision we ever made. moving here. Our two kids, 9 and 11, they don't know any other life. Toronto is fading from their minds, and we can go out and have so many beautiful experiences. And I can get on my motorcycle and be on beautiful, winding, hilly roads in a matter of 10 minutes. Driving to St. Andrews or going out to Campobello or going up to Macadam, it never gets old. It's beautiful, it's stunning. But it really is, in addition to the beauty that surrounds us, the respect, the friendliness, the welcomingness, the hard work that we are as New Brunswickers, that really makes this place home, really makes it one of the best places to live. We are so privileged. And that is why I am running for MLA. I know I talk a lot about solutions, and solutions imply problems. There are no solutions necessary if there are no problems. But we can't just focus on those problems. We have to focus on the beauty of where we live, how privileged we are to live here, how I get to call all of you neighbors. And it is such an incredible honor and a privilege. And that, to me, is what makes New Brunswick New Brunswick. And it is why I'm running for MLA. I can't wait to serve this community as we continue to get better and move into the future and make sure that as we respect each other and work hard and as we're resilient, we make sure that everybody has what we need. And so that's going to take courage and it's going to take participation. I'm meeting so many people who are excited to roll up their sleeves. I still meet people, though, who say everything's too broken and I can't fix it. I'm looking at the time here. But it is going to take courage to say, we can fix it, but fixing anything from an old car to a healthcare system, that takes work. And so it means that we are going to have to vote. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves. We're going to have to come to the table with ideas. But whatever idea we have, it needs to be a good idea for everyone, not just a select few, not just for wealthy, not just for industry. It has to be good for everyone. We don't want to leave anyone out. We don't want anyone to fall through the cracks. And so when we're talking about transportation or justice or housing or any of these aspects of the five things the solutions that I want to bring, we have to think of the most vulnerable and the minorities in our communities, because that was my first impression of New Brunswick. What an amazing place to live, full of people who care for each other. And now, I wouldn't have believed it if you said it back in 2005, but I get to call New Brunswick home, and I'm so much better for it. And I'm so much better for you being in my life, and I get to call this community.